It's always funny to me when people speak about becoming more confident. They go on this rant about, like, hey, you got to do X, Y, Z. You got to have all your ducks in a row. You got to be, doing your fucking taxes and this and that. And then you'll feel confident and you'll feel better about yourself. And to be fair, you will feel better about yourself. And that's a very valid point. And to be fair, you should do all those things, but you shouldn't necessarily do them so that you're going to be more confident with other people. Okay? Because listen, confidence is an emotion. And most people completely miss the boat on this one because they think that they need to hit certain goalposts, certain milestones, certain shit. They need to do all this XYZ shit, right? Have X amount of followers on Instagram, have X amount of this, have X amount of money in their bank, whatever. And by the way, I have a really fucking cool Instagram. I have a lot of money. This is not my main channel, just FYI. It's just a passion project. And I have all of those things, but I don't have those things and I don't do those things to then get the emotion of confidence in return. Because I can tell you and guarantee you that when I was a fucking 14-year-old little boy, I'd square up with fucking anybody and I had extreme confidence in social scenarios, in dating, in whatever. And I had jack shit to my name. So my point with all of this is that actually, in reality, the only thing you truly need to be extremely confident is to believe that you can. And essentially, if you are someone who doesn't meet the superficial societal standards to be confident, then all you need to have is delusion. Literally, you can be delusional in your confidence. You can be literally delusional in the fact that you don't need all of these superficial standards. You don't need to meet any of them in order to be confident. Okay? And the best example I can give you of this is this fucking homeless dude who, maybe I'll throw a quick clip on air. I'm not sure if it's going to get copyrighted or something. But it's this homeless guy who was interviewed by Vice or some sort of publication, right? And this fucking guy will outperform you in confidence any day of the week. And this guy is homeless. And you know what his game is? You know what his whole shtick is? He literally goes up to women in the street and he just, starts talking his shit. And he literally just, the way that he sleeps not on the street is by sleeping at women's places, at women's hotels, that kind of shit. Now, if that's not a G move, like, this my boy's fucking homeless, okay? And that's his thing. So if you understand that, how fucking ridiculous. The only thing I need to do to like completely obliterate your whole paradigm is just for you to check out that video. Or for you to understand what I'm saying to you right now. Like, if some homeless dude, you know how these guys say, like, oh yeah, if you want to like come across well to women, this and that, you need to like have your hygiene on point and you need to like be well groomed and all of that kind of shit, bro. This guy doesn't even take showers. You don't understand that it's all about confidence. You don't understand that it's all about emotion. Now look, can those things help? Do I shower? Yes, I fucking shower, okay? Yes, I look like a fucking male model. Yes, I look like Brad Pitt. But if I didn't have those things, like I told you when I was very young, I would still absolutely crush it, confidence-wise. And I'm talking not just about like going out and stuff like that. I'm just talking about any odd thing. So whether that's your networking, your sales, speaking to other fucking high-level dudes, making friends, whatever. It always all comes down to confidence. That is like the 80% of it. You get it? There's always the 80-20 principle with like, what is the main thing? And you got to keep the main thing. And what's the other stuff? It's just like in any field of performance, like for example, I do boxing as well. Many of the greatest boxing trainers say, or many, a couple that are really, really OGs, they say, listen, the mind, the psychology is like 80% of it. And they even say, if you look up Mike Tyson, his philosophies on this, he also says, confidence is literally everything. If you're supremely confident, you're going to tap into a higher amount, a higher percentage of your potential. But if you're fearful, right? If you're insecure and you're coming from that insecure place, You inhibit your own potential and your own capacities. So they might be there. You might have trained them, you might have worked on them, but you literally can't access them. And for example, you see this with guys who do a big fight, and all of a sudden, because everybody's watching, the pretty girls are watching, they can't actually access what they can do in the gym. We call them gym warriors, okay? They're just fucking good in the gym. They can have a great spar, but as soon as those big lights turn on, where did all that go? So anyways, to get back to the point at hand, how do you get this delusion? How can you just be delusional? And before I tell you that, I want you to really let one thing sink in, because you can take this and go into a very wrong direction with your life. Because listen, if you're supremely confident without needing any external things to have that confidence, it can take away some of your motivation to get those external things. And I don't want that for you. Why? Because you need to have those external things. You want to have those external things, but just not for the necessary reason of having confidence. Because then your confidence is also going to be extremely fragile, right? Because what if it gets taken away from you? What if your fucking Instagram gets suspended? What the fuck, man? But anyway, you want to use that confidence to get those results that you think would get you confidence, right? Instead of using those results to get you confidence. You get it? So you just flip that motherfucker right around. And so you bring that confidence that you think you would have if you would have all those external things, and you visualize it, and you conceptualize it, and you bring it right to the fucking present, right? And you step into that emotion, because once again, it's an emotion that you can trigger by imagining certain things. Then it'll trigger an emotion. How would you feel if you just won 10 million bucks? Okay, if you had $100 million net worth right now, how would you feel? How would you feel differently? And then localize that feeling, bring it into the present, and live out of that each day. And that is going to create the motherfucking $100 million net worth. Okay? Literally, that's how you do it. Because you can only receive something that you are. You can only get something that you're ready for. And the biggest block people have in achieving their goals, and this is beyond just a little bit of social skills and confidence, but the biggest block that people have in achieving their actual goals is trying to attack their goals and to get their goals as their current self, instead of being and shifting into the mental stances of the person that would already have that success and attacking their goals as that person. Because if you already were the exact person you needed to be, then you would already have what you wanted to have. And that is proven 1,000 times over. Look at Donald Trump, lost everything, built everything up within a year or something like that, okay? Look at lottery winners that make 50, 100 mil, and they lose it. 80+%, 85% of them, something like that, within the first 10 years or 5 years or whatever, or a couple years. Why? Because they weren't the person that's ready for that. So even if you by chance receive it, you're going to lose it. And that's just how you want to think of this. So my point, before we go further in the recipe for this unlimited celebrity-like confidence, is use it to get more success. Okay? Don't get into the place where you're like, oh, my life is great right now. I have all these pretty girls now. People respect me. I walk around like a fucking G, this and that, this and that. No, don't settle for that, okay? I just want to make that point. That's not what the personal development thing is about, because I have seen people fall into that trap. Now, let's give you the recipe. That delusion stuff, right? You can literally choose to be confident. Literally just like that. All you need to do is decide. And you can decide what you need to be confident. And you can decide that that is absolutely nothing. Like Buddy, the homeless guy, okay? That motherfucker doesn't need anything to be confident. And I'll tell you this, he schools guys that think they're all that with their little suit and their little banker job or their little business. He schools them. Why? Because he's in a different frame of reality and he doesn't give a fuck, okay? So when he is in an interaction, and I'm just saying this from a hypothetical standpoint, but I just know for sure that he would, okay? When he would be in an interaction with those people, his reality will overtake their reality and the people standing around. Okay, so the strongest reality wins. It doesn't actually matter what reality that is. But a lot of people subscribe to a certain reality because the society has pushed that upon them. But in different societies, different things are important. Nothing is actually truly valuable. Nothing is actually truly like, oh, now you're cool, now you're valuable, now you're high state. No. So that means that you can just be confident without having anything. Fucking anything. And you could just walk in there and just shoot the fucking shit and just be yourself and literally entertain yourself. And other people are going to be in their head because they're going to be like, oh shit, well, am I making more money than that guy? Or, am I cool and this and that? Am I wearing the right fucking item? Bro, that's not what it's about. That's like the 20%. Yes, it can help. It can give you a little edge in the beginning when you're meeting new people, whether that's in this fucking sales meeting or fucking whatever, right? It is not the main thing. And it's proven 1,000 times over, right? Because guys who have supreme confidence will fucking destroy anybody, right? That has those advantages. And that is how you want to view this. So you don't need anything. And you can just the realization that you could decide, oh, I'm just confident. That you could just decide that. And look, your feelings, they'll catch up later. Okay, they'll catch up eventually because the more time that you choose to be confident, the more it will sink into your nervous system. Okay, and then it's going to be an automatic behavior. But you don't need any superficial rules or standards. You don't need to meet anything to be confident. You don't. You don't need to wake up at 6 a.m. to be confident. You don't need to go to the gym to be confident. You don't need to do anything because it's actually only about the following. If your blueprint of what you need to be confident matches what you do, right? If those things align, you're confident. So if you could just eliminate your blueprint. You could just say, I don't need to go to I don't need to do anything. I need to be on point, whatever. Because I've met some fucking club promoters that are the most confident guys you would ever meet. And they don't have anything on point. Their whole lives, they're sleeping on a goddamn air mattress. Because they don't have all the rules that you have. You're logical minded, okay? You're like a dude who's like, oh, just thinking logically about all these things. This is emotion, okay? This is fucking how you sell things to people. This is how you sell things to yourself. It's not logical. You gotta stop thinking like that. Yes, for business, you absolutely need to, but you gotta understand that you can take this into business as well. You can dance between the logical, the emotional, and the irrational stuff, right? And you can use it to get better results in whatever you do. So look, that being said, let's compare this to happiness. If you wanted to be happy, you could, right? Because you could just say to yourself, let's say that right now, if you truly think, what do I need to be really happy? Then you would say, okay, I need to be doing XYZ money. I need to be having XYZ people that I'm connecting with, whatever, right? But you could actually say, I don't need any of those things and just be happy. And you just tap into the emotion of happiness. Because you could ask yourself, you could envision, okay, let's say I have all these things, how would I feel? You start feel that emotion, and then you could just come from that emotion. It's there. You all that you need is within you right now. Like you don't actually need all that anything external can do. It can just trigger something that was already inside you in the first place. That's why I'll prove it to you once again. If you go out, if you're planning to go out, and I'm already starting to, light up because shit can be fun. But if you're gonna go out with your buddies and you're gonna go drinking and this and that, and you're not even there yet, you haven't even had a sip of alcohol yet, right? You're already so excited. You're already feeling great because it's the anticipation of something, but it's not even there yet. So you could anticipate that shit all day long in your mind. You get what I mean? Even with grabbing a coffee, right? People feel better with grabbing a coffee because it's the anticipation of that thing. Even if you haven't gotten it yet, because you already know that you're about to feel real good. You get what I'm saying? So you can play with your mind. You can install anything that you want. Now, once again, I'm not saying that you should do this. Because for some people, arguably, right, saying at this stage of your life, okay, I don't want to be confident yet, or I don't want to be extremely confident like that independently because I want to have more leverage to get more successful, right? But what I would say is like, look, it also doesn't necessarily have to be dependent, your motivation on just that confidence thing. You could also say like, listen, if I would get all of the success, right? It's just everything is going to come easier to me, more money, more freedom, even right, social results, women, whatever it is that motivates you, right? Confidence is always the main thing. But if you have all this external success, it can still make things much easier. So it doesn't necessarily have to be just the confidence thing that motivates you. But anyway, you can play with your mind. What I'm just saying, like the point that I'm making here, just to be clear, guys, because I know it's a little bit vague, or it's a little bit deep, right? The point that I'm making is you want to just set up your mind in a way that works for you. I always use the word workable for the results that you desire, okay? So there's no right or wrong, right? If your confidence right now is dependent and you're saying like, listen, I want my confidence to be dependent on these things because it gives me a lot of drive and that's the main thing that I want to do right now, do it, okay? And that's why you got to personalize these things. And if you want to personalize this shit, then go to the description of this YouTube video and there will be a link. You can book a chat with me and we'll have a call, okay? A confidence call, and we'll just go through and set your mind up the way that you need it to be to desire the goal, to get to the goals that you desire most. And we'll get you either the celebrity-like confidence, easy, okay? Or we'll get you other shit, like whatever it is that you need to get to a next level or to win socially, whatever it is that you want and need. We'll figure it out. And it might not even be what you think it is right now. We might get on a chat and I might blow your whole world apart because you thinking that you want all this and need all this, but actually it's completely the opposite thing. Because the thing that holds you back the most is always the thing that you're not aware of. It's a blind spot, okay? Just like if you're driving a truck or a car even, what's the most dangerous thing? It's the thing that you can't see. If you're fighting a motherfucker, okay? What's the shot that's gonna knock you out? It's the thing that you don't see coming, okay? So that is something that you can have a second pair of eyes on, okay? And help you with. Look, guys, I just want to make this clear. This is, again, my second channel. I have a main business channel where I do all my business stuff and run a lot of ads, and that's my primary business. But this is something I do because, honestly, two things. Number one, I love this. Number two, actually three things. It makes a great impact because people message me about these videos all the fucking time. My Instagram, by the way, is @BoydHoek. If you want to send me a message, you can do it that way as well. And the third reason is, anytime I make these videos, anytime I talk to people about this shit, anytime I coach people, I learn from it myself. My understanding of the psychology of life goes deeper and deeper. And that is the primary thing that you need to be extremely successful, okay? So those are the reasons. And building on what I said before, right? You just want to have something that is workable for you, okay? So you have to understand what is it that you're trying to do right now. Like we could make it to where you feel enough, you feel okay with anything, right? And you'd be happy with anything. Well, is that what we want? No. Even for myself, I could do that to myself. I could make my mind in a way where I wouldn't care about anything. And okay, that would have some benefits, but it's absolutely not what I'm trying to do right now, right? I want to be in a place where I feel like shit if I'm not making millions of fucking dollars, if I'm not with the most beautiful, best women on earth, if I don't have the most successful, coolest fucking guys as friends, okay, who have optimized and mastered every area of life, fucking, they can square up if they need to, okay? They're making hella money. They're confident, outgoing people, right? Everything. They're connected and in touch, and they're building fucking big businesses, having an impact. Whatever it is that you want, okay? So you have to find something that's workable and not necessarily something that you think is right or that the rule tells you is right, especially not, okay? But that is how you get celebrity-like confidence like that. It's delusion. You can choose it if you want it. It's there for the fucking taking. And then the more you choose it, the less you need your awareness to choose it. And it will be automatically chosen by your body. Just like if you drive to work, right? Every single day. I have never had a fucking job since I was 18 or something, but since I was probably, something like that. If you drive to work every fucking day, right? Then on the weekend, let's say you go for a drive, you want to go to the gym, but automatically all of a sudden you drive to work. How? Why? Because the pattern was built for you to go to work. Now, let's say that you quit the job and you keep going, drive to the gym every single day instead, right? And then let's say that on one day you need to drive to somewhere else, you're going to drive to the gym automatically because if you're not paying attention, if you're not having your awareness and thinking, because your body does what is conditioned into it, right? And so that's the place that you can get this confidence to. It's just conditioning. Stop fucking chasing like, oh, I need all these things to get it, or I need to achieve these mileposts to be confident, or I need to dive into my past and do 10 years of trauma healing and go to Costa Rica to do ayahuasca, and then I'll become, it's complete sacks of shit, okay? And people who are into that kind of shit are rarely actually confident, And I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm just saying you don't need that. It's all very simple. Your mind is actually quite simple once you really understand the fact that your mind simply works as a habit forming machine, and it prefers those habits that go into safety and comfort and what's already familiar over the ones that are unfamiliar, etc. That's why it prevents you from going down paths that are unfamiliar. It really gives you the butterflies in a negative way, right? Like, oh, I shouldn't be doing that shit, right? Because it's unsafe, it's unfamiliar territory. And so your brain wants to avoid that at all cost. The one thing your brain hates more than anything is things that are unfamiliar, because it's really dangerous for it. Think about the caveman times. That's where your brain evolved from. In the caveman times, if you had the one path, which you knew was shitty, okay, but you have been down that fucker 100 times, so you're gonna be just fine if you do, okay? And there's another path that looks great and has a bunch of fucking fruit and shit like that, but it might be very dangerous, right? And there's some signs that it could be dangerous. You're not gonna go down that path, even though it might be way better, because the risk, okay? And that's what your brain truly loops on continuously throughout the day, every minute, every hour. And if you want to be successful and get to your goals, you have to interrupt that and go down the path that you consciously choose. So you have to consciously interject that automatic loop of your brain that always looks for the easiest route, that always looks for the path of least resistance. And with that being said, I'll leave you to it. Go crush the day and make some happen. Make some big happen. You don't have no idea. You can do big fucking things. I've seen myself, but I've also, more importantly, seen friends that literally went from being a fucking gym teacher in high school on the path to do that to being a multi-millionaire. Guys, I've seen such big things happen with myself, with my students, and with just plain friends. You can do it. Make some fucking happen.